but I'm a little bit of a geek when it comes to Lord of the Rings.
Me too.
So
Yeah.
um, I can actually show you. People will see my phone here,
Oh,
and
wow.
it's an activity where you are basically the hobbits leaving the Shire, and you start at the Shire, and then the aim is to get all the way to Mordor. And every day it's tracking how many kilometers you do. You have these little animations as
And
well.
that's literally like from the film as well. That's Weathertop. Sorry, I'm a massive Lord of the Rings geek as well. So yeah, that has just blown my mind. I love that expression in English, but wow, that's blown my mind.
Welcome to English with Lewis. Let's go! Hello, everybody, and welcome back to English with Lewis. And today we have, you guessed it, of course, another conversation with another amazing teacher. So, Chris, hello.
Hello, Lewis. Thank you very much for inviting me. Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here, and I'm excited to chat with you.
Awesome. So we've actually been chatting for the last 40 minutes, just getting to know each other, having a little chit chat. But now I know everything about you, but these people, maybe they don't. So tell us about you.
Well, let's hope they want to know. Yeah, so I'm Chris. I'm 35 years old and I'm from Brighton in England. If anyone doesn't know where Brighton is, I'm sure you do, Lewis. I don't know if maybe you've ever been there, but it's 1 hour south of London on the south coast. So very easy to get to from London.
Wonderful. Yeah, it's interesting because I had a conversation with Jordan from English Lingo, and he's from Eastbourne, which is, I think, just around the corner.
Yeah, so my cousin lives in Eastbourne. Yeah, it's about 1 hour away from Brighton.
Okay, perfect. It's a small world, right?
It is, I think England as well, especially, is a very small country. Yeah.
Fantastic. But you don't live in Brighton at the moment, do you?
No, correct. So I'm currently living in Spain, in Gijon, which is on the northern coast. So I've gone from the south coast of England to the northern coast of Spain. And yeah, very, very happy here. The weather's a lot better than the English weather. I'm sure you could probably agree with that.
Yeah, 100%. It's weird because whenever I'm having these conversations and interviewing people, many people either live in Spain or they love Spain. So, in your personal experience and opinion, what do you think it is about Spain that attracts, in particular, English people?
Oh, I mean, I don't really want to say it, but I think number one is the money. I mean, it's a lot cheaper to live in Spain than it is to live in England. I mean, maybe it's not the most glamorous, romantic answer in the world, but yeah, that is a big bonus. But let's not forget the food, the weather, and I think just in general, the whole way of life being so relaxed and family and friends is the top priority. You finish work, you go for a drink or for some tapas with your friends or with your family. It's not go home and wait for tomorrow and work again. No, it's enjoy the afternoon, see your friends, see your family, and I just love that lifestyle here.
Yeah, it's interesting because it seems like people much more they work to live rather than live to work. So their priority is enjoying life, their family, their friends, going out and having some tapas and stuff like that. Whereas in other countries, perhaps there are some people who prioritize work much ahead of their family, even at times, which isn't healthy.
No, I mean, I would categorize myself as that person when I was living in England. It was you finish work at 5 or 6. Obviously, dinner time in England is like 6 or 7. So you go home, you have dinner, and then, well, Netflix, and tomorrow I'll go back to work. There's no kind of, for me, there was no real social aspect from Monday to Thursday. It was all about the Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah, it's interesting because I speak about work and work culture with many of my students. And uh, on the one hand, I'm a little bit of a workaholic because I enjoy my job and I see it as a bit of a hobby as well. So I spend a lot of time working. But on the other hand, it's true that I need balance in my life. So this morning, I've already been for a run. The weekends for me are pretty sacred as well. So
Yeah.
maybe I'll make the odd video if I'm running behind and I haven't got anything to post. But I never, ever teach at the weekend because for me, it's sacred.
Yeah, I say the same with my classes and also the gym. Saturday and Sunday are not days for the gym. No.
Exactly. Now, anyway, going back in time, when you were younger, what did you want to be? What did you want to do?
Well, I think my dream as a child was very similar to a lot of other English children and, children all over the world. I wanted to be a professional footballer. Yeah, everyone did, didn't they? Well, not everyone, but anyone who liked football wanted to be a professional footballer. When I realized that I wasn't good enough, which again is quite common for a lot of children, I decided to study sports journalism. So that's what I did at university. I studied sports journalism with the dream of maybe working for the BBC, talking about football. Then I discovered teaching, which is now my new passion. But yeah, as a child, it was either a footballer or talking about football.
Okay, and which position do you play in?
Oh, I would say I'm a centre mid, yeah, central midfielder, a number eight to put it in a more kind of basic term. But I don't think I have the stamina anymore to run up and down. Put me in goal now, where I can just, yeah, that's easier.
You're not the engine of the team anymore. You're not a James Milner.
Oh no, not when I was 12 or 13, maybe, but not now that I'm 35. I mean, you're an avid football fan yourself, I believe, and you play as well.
Yeah, I don't play as much as I would like to. I love football. Everybody knows it. And I actually made a video going over some advanced football terms back in July, just before the final of the Euros, which the less we speak about, the better.
That was a bad day to be a resident in Spain. I'll tell you that. Yeah.
Yeah, I watched it with Spanish people here in Brussels, and I was kind of cautiously optimistic, despite the fact that England had played so badly, and it was a miracle that we got to the final. And on the other hand, Spain had been playing so well. But there was something about it and the final where I was thinking, like, maybe it'll happen. We might win on penalties, but
It's coming home.
it didn't come home, unfortunately.
No, I mean the best team won, as you mentioned. We did not play well, did we? So yeah, the best team won. But I also think that's a very English thing. It's blind optimism. Every tournament we think we're gonna win, and then we don't. It happens every time.
Yeah, no, it's a hard life. But yeah, people know that I'm a Leeds United fan, so I'm not used to winning with my club team either. But which team do you support?
Yeah, the same as you. I support my hometown, so Brighton and Hove Albion. So yeah, the same as you. I never celebrated. I think the biggest celebration in terms of football was being promoted to the Premier League. Like it wasn't. We didn't win anything, but we made it to the Premier League, and we're still there. Sorry. Well, you just came back. I think Leeds just nope. Oh, yeah, it was the playoffs. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we lost in the playoff final, god damn it.
Sorry, I forgot.
It's all right.
That wasn't intentional. Sorry.
Back in the day, I used to take it very, very seriously. And if things didn't go well, I'd get frustrated, I'd get angry, I'd be down for a week until we next played. But now, I guess, as I get older and I'm maturing in theory,
Yeah.
I'm able to get over a loss and kind of just move on, really. So football is great and I love it, but it's not everything. It's not the end of the world if you don't win. But if and when Leeds win this season, I'm going to be absolutely over the moon.
Buzzing, yeah. I remember watching the final England-Spain here in Spain, and then we lost, and everyone was like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. It's like, no, as you mentioned, it's just a game of football. And I remember my dad telling me once, there's no point getting upset because 11 millionaires have beaten another 11 millionaires. Like, why are you getting upset for that? And when you think of it, wow, that's true. Yeah, it's not England and Spain, it's 11 English people who are millionaires playing against 11 Spanish people who are millionaires. And when you think like, oh yeah, it's not that big of a deal.
No, no. I mean, they are filthy rich. So if we think about it like that, it's really good to put things into perspective. And of course, no footballer deserves to be earning so much money, but we live in a world of capitalism. So if there are people who are willing to pay so much for the rights to be able to broadcast the matches, then the clubs are going to get paid so much as well. And then it's all economics. And I guess it's either that or communism. And I don't know which one's better, to be honest.
I mean, you're asking the wrong person. But I do like it is kind of a circle, yeah, because it starts with our demand, our wanting to watch the football. So then the television companies can charge us money for it, and then the Premier League charges the television company. So it's all just one, or maybe less of a circle, more of just a line going up.
A vicious line.
Exactly, with us at the bottom. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, obviously, you said that you're living in Gijon, the northern coast of Spain. And am I right in thinking that you've been living in Spain for like a decade now?
Nearly. I think it's been about 8 years. Yes, I lived in Madrid for 1 year, Bilbao for 6 years, and now Gijon for, yeah, a year and a half. So coming up to 10 years. Yeah, I think 10 years is the amount of time an English person needs to get the nationality, I think. So maybe I'm very close.
Okay, exciting. Let's see what happens then.
I'm not sure. I'm very, Brexit kind of changed things. So maybe that will affect my decision. But yeah, I still have time. I don't need to worry about it just yet. But yeah, no, love Spain. I'm a really, really big fan of this country.
Perfect. And of course, you speak Spanish because a lot of your videos are in Spanish, explaining things and mistakes that Spanish people or Spanish speakers might make. But aside from Spanish, do you speak any other languages, or would you like to learn any other languages?
So I would like to learn French. I imagine the same as you, probably, that French was the second language when I was at school in England.
Mm-hmm.
There were the options of Spanish and German, but French was an obligation. Everybody in my school, we had to study French. And I didn't want to. I was young, I was rebellious. But now, as an adult, yes, I regret not studying more, not taking it more seriously. So that would definitely be on my list, is to maybe learn French one day. I have some French friends, so obviously it would help me to, engage with them in their language, because at the moment we use Spanish because it's a second language for me and a second language for them, so it's kind of fair. But yeah, no, I'd love to speak French. I think you're English, Spanish, and Italian, if I'm right.
Yeah, so I obviously speak English. It's my mother tongue. It's my first language. I speak Spanish because I studied Spanish and Italian at university. But I always say that my Italian is so rusty that I'm not even proud enough to say I speak Italian these days. And a similar thing happens with my Portuguese, that I can get by in Portuguese more or less. And if I decided to brush up on it and study again and review what I used to know, I think I'd be able to improve quite quickly. But then when I moved here to Belgium, I started practicing and learning French. And now my French is probably better than my Italian and my Portuguese.
Oh,
But
wow.
none of them are really, really fluent except Spanish. So it's weird with languages because you always have to be maintaining them and practicing them. And if you don't use them, you do, to a certain degree, lose them, which is annoying. It's like going to the gym and getting fit, really. If you stop going to the gym and you start eating loads, then you're going to put on weight. And if you stop studying or using a language, you're going to forget a lot of words and concepts and everything. So
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I kind of sometimes, I'm not proud to admit this, but some very rare occasions I forget some English because all of my friends here are Spanish. So at work, in my videos, in my classes, I obviously speak English because we are English teachers. But when I'm socializing in Spanish, there can be moments where I forget the word in English, but I know the word in Spanish. And I don't know if that ever happens to you. It's really crazy.
Yeah, there are so many times when I'm like, oh, what was the word? You know, the thingy, the whatchamacallit, and I have to describe the word in order for somebody else to tell me that word. And this
Yeah.
is actually a good speaking tip that if you're ever trying to explain a word or phrase that you don't remember, you can always describe it. And then the other person that you're speaking to will probably, hopefully, know the word and tell you. And it's a good way of practicing. It's like doing taboo almost, that you're
Yeah.
describing the words that you're trying to use.
Exactly. I find in a lot of classes, as you mentioned, I live in Spain, so primarily I have been teaching Spanish students to speak English, and they discover that I speak Spanish, so they say, "Oh, what's the translation?" I'm like, "No, no, no. I'll explain it to you. I'll describe it to you." And then vice versa, if they tell me in Spanish, like, "No, tell me in English." I don't know the word in English. Well, then explain it again, not in a like a mean teacher explain. No, but as you mentioned, as a way to improve your speaking is to describe the word. Yeah. And then if you
Exactly.
don't know the word, the words you mentioned earlier, thingamajig, thingamabobby, those are some fantastic words in English. Yeah, the
Like
whatchamacallit.
thingamajig, whatchamacallit, thingamabobby. You can
I
basically
love
say
those words.
thing and just any random combination of letters, and people will know what you're on about.
Yeah, especially with the point. Yeah, the thingamajig, the thingamajig, and they're like, oh yeah, 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 of course.
Of course. No, just going back before I forget, you said that you regret not living in blah, blah, blah. I don't remember exactly what you said, but what I want to highlight is the difference between regret to and regret with ing. So I could say that I regret not starting a YouTube channel 10 years ago. I regret having 3 or 4 pints last night. So is actually when you're speaking about your regrets. Whereas when you say, I regret to inform you, or I regret to tell you, it's a way of saying, I'm sorry that I am telling you. I'm sorry that I'm informing you. So regret to, I'm sorry. Regret ing is actually speaking about your regrets.
Yes, I did a video recently about verb patterns, which is obviously this kind of grammar topic where, enjoy will always be followed by a verb with ing. Enjoy doing, enjoy eating. Hope will always be followed by the infinitive. Hope to do, hope to eat. And then we reach the verbs like regret, stop, remember, where they can be followed by the infinitive or the ing, but with a different meaning. And oh, that's just made English.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I think a very common one is stop. So it'd be stop doing is stop doing the action. Stop to do is stop doing what you were doing to do something new. So it's a very subtle change, but a very important one as well.
exactly. So if you're learning English right now and you're trying to improve, good luck. You'll need it.
Yeah. It's a shame that it is maybe without wanting to sound arrogant, I think it is the most important language in the world for business and for traveling. But it is so complicated. It can be. I mean, I don't want students watching to think, oh, in that case, I give up. No, it is possible. It is definitely possible. But we do understand, you guys. It can be difficult. Yes.
100%. Now, you mentioned enjoy. Of course, enjoy is followed by ing. Let's ask each other what we enjoy doing. So, in your free time, if you're not playing football or teaching or making videos, what do you enjoy doing?
Really, I enjoy doing any kind of activity with friends. So, any kind of social activity, whether it be just in a bar in the sun or an escape room or paintball, it doesn't kind of, the activity itself is not so important for me. It's being with my friends and doing the activity together. I do love escape rooms. They've become a kind of recent phenomenon. They've been around for a while, I think,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I've only discovered them fairly recently, and they're so exciting. Yeah. So yeah, I think just socializing in general. What about yourself? Other than football and teaching and making videos.
Well, unlike you, I'm afraid I don't really enjoy doing escape rooms because my brain doesn't seem to work in that way. Whenever I have done an escape room, I've had fun because I've been with my friends and we've been about to go for a meal or some drinks after. But when I'm actually in the escape room, I just get frustrated and stressed, and I'm looking for clues and keys and codes. And in the end, maybe I should be more persistent and I shouldn't give up. But I start like being like, well, this is fun. Ha 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 ha. And I'm just not cut out for it. My experience, my profile isn't made for escape rooms. But despite that, I enjoy, what do I enjoy? I enjoy a lot of things, to be honest. I enjoy watching series. I enjoy listening to podcasts. I enjoy going for a walk. Like the amount of times that I just randomly finish work and I'm like, okay, I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to go for a stroll, a
Yeah.
relaxing walk. So I always try to make sure that whether it's running or walking, I do a minimum of 10K per day.
Wow, that's impressive.
And this is mainly just because I have a competition with my friends from home, from back in England, and we're all in the same like competition to see who does the most distance on a daily basis.
Is that
And
on Strava?
it's, well, I track my runs on Strava, but I'm a little bit of a geek when it comes to Lord of the Rings.
Me too.
So
Yeah.
um, I can actually show you. People will see my phone here,
Oh
and
wow.
it's an activity where you are basically the hobbits leaving the Shire, and you start at the Shire, and then the aim is to get all the way to Mordor. And every day it's tracking how many kilometers you do. You have these little animations as
And
well.
that's literally like from the film as well. That's Weathertop. So I'm a massive Lord of the Rings geek as well. So yeah, that has just blown my mind. I love that expression in English, but wow, that's blown my mind.
The name of the app is Fantasy Hike. So if you're interested in pushing yourself to walk a little bit more with a little bit of Lord of the Rings geekness,
Yeah.
it's perfect.
I think that's an incentive. Yeah, I mean, I can be very geeky with those kind of things. Harry Potter is my other absolute love of my life. Harry Potter, reading the books, I really enjoy reading the books, but I also enjoy watching the films. A Sunday Harry Potter marathon when it's raining outside. I don't think you can beat that, in my opinion.
So with Harry Potter, have you ever dared to read all of the books in Spanish?
I haven't. No, I think because I grew up with them in English, from the age of 11, when I was 10 or 11, I was reading them. So I think it would be a very good piece of advice for students is to read a book you already know in English, for example, if you're an English student, because you already know the plot. So you're not losing any of the kind of the key information, but you are learning new vocabulary. So I think it's a great strategy. But personally, I'm a bit of a hypocrite. No, I do love it when Spanish people say Hermione. I think that's hilarious when it's Hermione. And then my Spanish friends, what? It's like, yeah, Hermione. I mean, I don't know about you, but when I first read the name, my brain told me Hermione. Like, without even processing it, my brain just went Hermione. I don't know if it was the same for you.
Yeah, in my case, I like Harry Potter, but I'm not a huge Harry Potter geek. So I've watched all of the films, of course. They all came out as I was growing up, so
Yeah.
I couldn't avoid it really. And I enjoy the films, and I've watched them a couple of times, but I've never actually read all of the books, and I've
Okay.
read one of the books. The first book, I read it in Spanish, and maybe the second one as well, because I used to push myself to read novels in Spanish to try and expand my vocabulary before realizing that it's not really me. Like, I don't really enjoy reading so much. But yeah, I never read Hermione before I heard how it was pronounced in the films. So
Yeah.
I can't associate it with anything else. Edmion? No.
Yeah, it's Hermione. I even did. This is one of my claim to fame is I actually did a casting for the Harry Potter films. So I don't know. I don't really want to ask you your age because it could be offensive. But when I was 11, the Harry Potter studios, the producers, went to one school in every city of the UK. So it wasn't like I was an actor. No, it was an open casting where any kid could go and try to be in the Harry Potter film. So again, I don't know if that came to Leeds as well, but they came to one school in Brighton. Me and all my friends went. I think there were 3,000 kids in a queue to audition for Harry Potter. So unfortunately,
What
didn't get
went
it.
wrong? This
Yeah.
was your big opportunity.
I know, yeah, I must have messed up the audition. I think, yeah, I just got too nervous. It was Harry Potter, and I got nervous.
Crumbled under the pressure.
Exactly, yeah, like you in an escape room.
It was just too many stimulus. I didn't know what to do. Um,
Exactly.
but no, unfortunately, this never happened to me. I'm 31, by the way, uh, almost 32. I'm counting the days. But
So
to be
the
honest,
best decade of your life, the 30s,
yeah,
yeah.
like I don't it's hard to realize like after you've turned 32, 33, etc. The first times when you say your age, it always seems a little bit weird. I don't know if this has ever happened to you or not, but when I turned 30 and I had to start saying that I was 30, I was like, oh no, I'm not 29 anymore. And even when you were saying like, oh, I don't know your age, I was like, am I 32 or 31? No, I'm 31. It's all good. It's
Yeah.
all good.
It's very similar to when the year changes. You spend all of 2023, 2023, writing 2023. So then it gets to January 2024, but you're so used to writing 2023 that it's, oh, no, it's 2024. Oh.
God. And continuing with Harry Potter, because I'm sure many people are interested in this. And guys, if you're watching this, let us know, which one do you prefer, Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings? I'm much more of a Lord of the Rings fan, and I could easily binge watch all of them with The Hobbit included. Why not?
Yeah.
But with Harry Potter, I like it, but I don't love it. But yeah, in your case, Harry Potter, who is your favorite character and why?
Well, so before answering that question, I agree with you. I think the films, Lord of the Rings, much more of a fan of the films. I love watching the films and The Hobbit included. I think for me, Harry Potter, it's more the world itself, not necessarily the films or the books, but the world that J.K. Rowling has created. That's what I'm kind of in love with. I would say my favorite character, to give an obvious answer, would be Ron because he's the funny one, the comedian of the group. But also Remus Lupin, who was obviously one of the teachers who then became a father figure for Harry. Yeah, just I was never really a Harry or a Hermione or a Dumbledore. I was more Neville, Lupin, yeah, maybe Ron, even though he's one of the main characters. I still had a soft spot for him because he was funny, yeah. What about you with Lord of the Rings then? So who's your favorite character in Lord of the Rings?
Yeah, it's hard as well. It's hard not to say Aragon all the time because he's the fucking boss, basically.
Yeah.
Like, he's a
If
really
you grew your hair out a bit, you never know. You could have a bit of an Aragorn about you.
It's interesting because my friend uses the app Face app, and you can change your appearance a little bit, and you can add hair and stuff like this. So this is me with long hair.
Orlando Bloom.
Exactly. Is it Legolas or Aragon? I don't know. Maybe both.
That's all. Yeah, their DNA mixed child, maybe. It would
Exactly.
be
But
unstoppable. A mix of Aragorn and Legolas would be unstoppable.
if only, if only. But yeah, I'd say Aragorn is one of my favorite characters. Gandalf as well is obviously incredible. And then Samwise Gamgee. Like without Sam, Frodo is nothing. Like Frodo, come on. The ring isn't that much of a burden. Get a grip.
Yeah, come on, carry on walking. Look at Lewis with his app, and he's doing all of that. You can do it too, Frodo.
Exactly, Frodo. Get a grip. Get your act together.
Yeah,
These are nice expressions. To get a grip is basically to take control of the situation and maybe stop complaining about it. And to get your act together is very similar. Maybe if you're being lazy or you're sad or you're unorganized, somebody might say, come on, get your act together. It's like, sort yourself out.
yeah. I think for me, it's very common, as you mentioned, with laziness and disorganization. Come on, Chris, get your act together. Just start being a human being. Like, stop sitting on the sofa watching Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings and get your act together. Yeah.
Exactly. Wonderful. Now, anyway, let's go over some more random questions. We have a list as usual. So let's take it in turns. I'll ask you one question and then we can, yeah, take it in turns and you can ask me one. So, first things first, do you have any siblings? Do you have any brothers or sisters?
I do. I have one older sister. She has two sons, so I have two nephews, and one of them has just turned 6 today. Five,
Right.
sorry, five, not 6. Sorry, five today. Sorry, yes. So
31, 32, same difference,
exactly.
right?
Yeah. So two nephews. I don't have any nieces, which are obviously the female children. Well, my sister's female children, my niece. I think my brother-in-law, my sister's husband, he wants a girl next. I'm not sure if my sister wants any child next. I think two is enough for her now. But yeah, so one older sister with two nephews, her two children, my two nephews. And yourself, you an only child, or do you have any siblings?
Yeah, I'm not an only child. It's the same as you, really. I have an older sister. She's like 2.5 years older than me. She lives back in England, Bradford, Leeds area. And she's also just become a mum. So now I also have a nephew. And yeah, he's like 8, 9 months old. So he's
Wow.
still a proper baby. But he's adorable. He's so cute. And it's interesting to see how he's changing in
Yeah.
such a short amount of time from being like completely motionless and completely dependent. He still is completely
Yeah.
dependent, but you see that he's starting to smile a lot more, starting to make some different noises. I'm sure he'll be crawling on the ground as well soon. So it's cool. It's a nice thing that warms your heart.
Yeah, I get that. So, a really interesting question I'd like to ask you, which is related to what we're talking about now. What is the thing you miss most about the UK? Both of us are living outside of England, in Spain and in Brussels. So, what do you miss most about living in England or living in the United Kingdom?
Yeah, it's hard because I can't really honestly say the food, um, because English food is just international food, generally speaking. It's nice when I go to the beach to have fish and chips. It's nice to have a nice Sunday roast and stuff like this. But I never really crave English food. And the stuff that I might crave, like bangers and mash, I can easily cook myself. So it's not really an issue. Of course, I do miss being with my friends and family. And because I'm not from Leeds, I'm from a smaller town. It's nice going for walks around my town when I'm staying with my mum and dad, because in a minute or two, I'm in the countryside by the canal, maybe. So it's cool to go back and almost go back in time, because when I'm staying with my mum and dad and I've got a full fridge, I start to behave a little bit like a spoilt kid again. Um, and I'll maybe stop washing up or loading the dishwasher. And my mum never complains because if I only go there for like a week or two, she doesn't mind. Um,
I
but
think it's nice
probably,
for us to get back to that being, having someone look after us. I'm the same. The first few days, I'll wash my clothes, I'll wash the dishes, but by the fourth day, my mum's already washed my clothes. It's oh, thanks, mum. Yeah. Oh, do you want a cup of tea? Oh, yes, please, mum. Yeah, thanks. Yeah.
like, please, mummy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Not complaining. Yeah.
Not
As
at
you
all.
mentioned, it's a week out of the year. So yeah.
Exactly. They enjoy it. They like spoiling us and they like treating us. So who are we to tell them that they can't do it?
Well, so you mentioned this is your first nephew.
Yeah, yeah.
Trust me, in a few years, we get less attention now. The uncles, now that your parents and my parents have grandchildren, yeah, that becomes a lot less. Our pampered, spoiled child moments have kind of gone now.
It's interesting because my mum is so fussy. She's always fussing. So whenever I'm back home, she'll be asking me if I want anything in particular. Now with the little grandson, I'm almost not allowed to pick him up when my mum's around because she's like, "Oh, Lewis, be careful, be careful. Is he all right? You're not hurting him, are you? Now make sure you're using both hands." I'm
You're
like,
just
"Mom,
throwing you.
come on. He's enjoying himself. I'm throwing him up and down. He's having fun." But no, she's always fussing and worrying too much.
Yeah, I think that's a very common thing for most mothers, isn't it? To worry and to fuss over their children. Yeah.
Exactly. Now, all right, my turn. A random question off the top of my head. If you had to live in the UK and you weren't allowed to live in Brighton, in your city, where would you live? Which city or town would you choose?
That's a great question. That's a really good question. First, I have to say, even though I'm from the UK, I haven't traveled that much within my own country. I've traveled more cities in Spain than I have in England. So maybe Bristol, London. I've never really been up north. I've been to Manchester once for a job, but yeah, I've never really been further north of Birmingham. So, of the cities, obviously, that I visited, I would have to say London, even though it's so expensive. It's so expensive. It's London. It's one of the most amazing cities in the world. Even though Brighton is 1 hour from London, and I've been in London hundreds of times. There's still new things which surprise you. Every time you go to London, you see something new, something different, something amazing, whether it's a museum or an art gallery. It's London. It's just amazing. So yeah, I would have to say London, maybe Bristol, just to kind of still be on the coast near the beach, because yeah, I need a beach.
Right, perfect. Interesting. In my case, obviously, I wouldn't be able to choose Leeds, which is where I have most of my friends and family. So that would be the easy option and the most convenient option. But the other two cities that I think are really cool and also beautiful are Liverpool and Edinburgh.
Okay.
So I went to uni in Liverpool, and it's a very difficult accent, but the Beatles are from there. You also have the coast. You have some quite old historic buildings because Liverpool used to be really expensive. Liverpool used to be really special and important when we had lots of immigrants going to the United States and stuff like this because it's a port city. But people are really friendly and there's a nice young student vibe at the same time. Great sports, great music. So
Yeah.
Liverpool's a cool city, but I think Edinburgh is much more beautiful. So Edinburgh for me is like it's like being in Harry Potter. It's like being in Hogwarts. So it's absolutely gorgeous. And you also have the beach. It's a little bit colder than down south, of course.
Yeah.
But again, people are really friendly. Recently, Edinburgh has become quite a big tourist attraction as well, which makes it more international and perhaps more open-minded. And it is the capital of Scotland. So again, you have many old, cool buildings that are very architecturally pleasing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not planning on going back to the UK, but if I did, these would be the two biggest candidates.
I mean, it's funny you mentioned those two because Edinburgh in particular has been really high on my list of pending travels, pending trips, because I've heard so many great recommendations about Edinburgh, everyone. And I love also the pronunciation where it's Edinburgh, no, it's Edinburgh. Edinburgh, yeah, but it can be very difficult for English students to pronounce it, Edinburgh. But yeah, everyone that I have spoken to has basically said what you just said. It's beautiful, it's historic, the people are nice. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to take a trip there.
No, check it out. 100% go for it. And anyway, let's finish with one final question and then we'll wrap it up and call it a day. I hope everybody watching is super familiar with these two phrasal verbs expressions because I use them all the time. So remember, to wrap it up is the same as call it a day, which is to finish for now or finish for the day. So yeah, final question is, if you had to choose, again, second conditional, what would be your number one meal? The best dish, your favorite dish in the world?
So again, to use the second conditional, if I had to choose one meal as maybe my last ever meal, which is a very common hypothetical question, if I had to choose one meal, I would choose either my mum's lasagna, not lasagna, but specifically my mum's lasagna, or just any pizza. Like I love pizza. So yeah, I think I would have to go with my mum's lasagna. Yeah, so if I had to choose one meal, I would choose my mum's lasagna because it's delicious, but it's also that kind of that childhood memory which tastes like food and tastes and smells can bring back memories of childhood. So I think maybe that's what just pips it, which is just beats the pizza. It just pips the pizza with that kind of added detail that it's my mum's, it's nostalgic. So yeah. And what about yourself?
I'm just thinking about your mum's lasagna. I can't focus.
It's so good, mate. It's so good. Yeah. I'll get her to send me some to Spain and then I'll send you some. I think it might be a bit disgusting by the time it's done to travel. So, yeah.
I think it's going to go bad. It's going to spoil. It's
yeah.
going to be rotten. But no, in my case, I love everything, to be honest. But pizza is always a great go-to option. I had a lovely pizza the night before last night, 2 nights ago, and it was with Nduja. And it's written Nduja, and it's a type of like spicy sausage, kind of like chorizo, but more like a sauce. So it's as if it's like a spread of spicy sausage with meat and chili and stuff like this. And usually it's like the inside of a sausage, it's wrapped in whatever it is. And then you squeeze out the meat. It's a slightly less dense version of this, but with loads of paprika, chili oil. So it's a really big flavor that is delicious.
So does it go on top of the or does it replace the tomato sauce, or no, it goes on top of the tomato and the cheese?
Yeah, so it's just an extra topping. It's as if you're getting a pizza with chorizo, but it's slightly spicier and less solid. So it was so nice with Nduja, and I had another pizza, sharing with my girlfriend. She got one with aubergine, or in American English, eggplant. And we usually go half and half. I usually have more than half because, I'm a big boy, I'm growing.
And your mum would be saying the same thing. Lewis, you need to eat.
Oh, Lewis, you look really skinny at the moment. Have you been eating well? I was like, Mum, I had a kebab last night and a pizza 2 nights ago. Of course I'm eating.
Yeah, not healthily, but I am eating. Yeah.
Exactly. It counts, right?
Okay, so Nduja, I'm going to have to remember that, yeah.
Exactly. Check it out. You can Google it, and then if you go to a nice pizzeria, just in case you see it, give it a go.
Any kind of pizza I like. I like any kind of pizza. So yeah, to try a new style of pizza, well, not style, sorry, but a new topping. Yeah, no, that's interesting.
Sounds great. Now, anyway, let's call it a day. Let's wrap it up. Chris, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for being here and for having a chat. I hope everybody enjoyed it. If you have any questions for us, let us know in the comments. And also, the question I asked you earlier, do you prefer Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter? And what do you enjoy doing in your free time? Let us know in the comments. Thank you, Chris.
No, thank you, Lewis. It's been a pleasure.
Awesome. See you later. Bye-bye. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and see you next time.